can I say this? Never assume that Jesus doesn't care. Because there is no one that has ever paid a greater price to show you he cared than Jesus. And the storms of life, the fear that comes with the storms, they will attack your doubt and if he cares or not. And I got to tell you that's a big deal for the enemy. Here's what I believe. The enemy cannot defeat me. And let me quote one of my favorite preachers. I cannot be defeated and I will not quit. Come on. The enemy cannot take me out. I'm a child of God. I'm an overcomer. Greater is he that's in me than he that's in the world. He can't touch this, right? And then the little MC Hammer thing. But he can't touch this. But you know what he can? He can distract me. Those storms cannot take me out. And isn't it true if you think about the result that could have been with the disciples? They drowned. And this is going to sound funny, but so what? I mean, it's a big deal to them, but so what? I mean, for every believer, oh, death, where is thy sting? Oh, grave, where is thy victory? And Paul would say, I'm in this turmoil. I want to go to heaven and not be here, but I got to be here and be here. What's the better of the two? And Paul would say heaven. And so really the fear that they were experiencing really was kind of an irrational fear. Isn't it true if you know your eternity is secure in heaven, that you have nothing to fear on the earth? And so shouldn't fear for your future or your life really be an irrational fear? But we live in a world, especially in this country, full of irrational fears. Isn't that true? And fear is really a learned thing, isn't it? And we grew up and we're taught to fear so many things today. It is amazing how many things we're taught to fear today. 50 years ago, and my grandparents' generation, they didn't have the fear of divorce like we have today. You just didn't get divorced 50 years ago. 50 years ago in my grandparents' generation, that wives weren't concerned about their husbands looking at internet pornography or something else like that. It wasn't even around necessarily to that extent and accessible. 50 years ago, husbands weren't concerned if their wife was on a Facebook chat with someone that they were getting an emotional attachment to. They weren't afraid of that. What are you doing spending on when I'm at work? What are you doing on the internet? How come you're on Facebook all the time? 50 years ago, parents weren't concerned about their kids growing up with guns and being violent and being disrespectful. Why? Because there wasn't all those violent video games and all those things associated with that. And you couldn't get away with things. How many remember you got licks at school? When you got in trouble, man, they got the paddle out and just busted your rear end, right? I mean, come on. You could actually discipline your children to keep them in line. You could actually use the rod so you didn't spoil the child, right? 50 years ago, they weren't worried about teen pregnancy like they are today. Why? Because we taught abstinence and we taught true love waits, and God has a special someone for you.